commercial break. The show for today, we're talking to Pastor KWalker, Mr. Ola Tashunte, and Ben Mathis in reference to capital punishment in Tennessee, which means that we're basically talking about capital punishment, certainly over the southeast, but also throughout the United States of America. Mr. Ola Tashunte, you've got a special kind of situation that brings you to us this morning. Why don't you give some information within the context of what we're trying to do here today in reference to your situation?
Right. Well, first I want to thank you and thank these guys for, allowing me to be here. And I do think it's a real important issue that we're talking about capital punishment. And I would make this quick reference when you talk about, this issue of the death penalty. They actually executed a guy in Texas night before last. It took them 27 minutes to actually declare this guy dead. Mm-hmm. And so I think that says a whole, that speaks in volumes about, the drugs that they're using to administrate, death on these guys that's actually sitting on death row. And my particular story is that I'm a fine example why it shouldn't be a death penalty. I spent 28 years in prison, and 20 of them were spent on Tennessee's death row for a crime that I ain't commit. I've been home now since June 1st, made it a year. So I've been home, I guess now, a year and a couple of weeks or so. The death penalty certainly is an issue that I think that we all should, really just think about and try to, we have to take a stance in terms of how wrong it is, first off. Because like I say, my situation is one that, everything that could have possibly went wrong in a capital trial went wrong in my trial, from fabricated evidence, the withholding of evidence of my innocence, everything that could have possibly went wrong. And I sit here, it's a miracle that I actually sit here. I mean, I don't sit here, I sit here despite the system. The system didn't work in my case. I think a lot of time people see, guys being exonerated through DNA, and they think that, okay, this is, how everybody get off. But the reality is most of the people that's been exonerated, DNA didn't have nothing to do with the charge that they was actually involved in. So, and in my case, I was actually tried and convicted in Memphis, Tennessee, in 1985 for a crime that actually happened in 1983. So it was 2 years after the crime actually happened that I was actually put on trial. And the ironic thing about my situation is that I had never been in the state of Tennessee until I was actually brought down here and put on trial.
Tried for murder.
Tried for murder. Wow. I was actually, I'm actually born and raised in St. Louis. I tell people now I'm an unwilling transplant to Tennessee now, but the reality is that
how did they so mix up your information and whatever to
right.
2 years after a crime has been committed, they can find you in Missouri
right.
and end up bringing you to Tennessee and charging you and sending you to death? I mean,
right.
explain all of that.
I know the truth is more stranger than fiction, but what happened in my case was that the car that was actually supposedly used in the crime, in this robbery murder that actually happened in Memphis in 1983, was actually stolen from the St. Louis airport. Hearst Rental Company, car company, was in the airport. The people involved in the crime actually stole the car from up there. So this is the link that when the authorities started in Memphis, Tennessee, looking for people that was possibly guilty of the crime, that it led them to St. Louis. Now, in my case, I had a prior criminal record, but I had never been locked up for stealing no car, so I don't know how, and it was never explained, first off.
How you became a car thief.
Yeah, how I became not only a car thief, but how my name even came up as a suspect, because if you have authorities in Memphis, Tennessee, sending to another jurisdiction saying that they interested in certain suspects, well then they're going to be saying that we looking for car thieves, we looking for people that's committing robberies and murders and this stuff here. And in my case, that was not my case. So like I said, it was never explained how my name actually came up. But what happened was, because I did have a prior criminal record, that certainly made it easier for the authorities make me fit the case, because in my case is, like I said, the charge was actually 2 years old before I actually was put on trial. And so you had me, this young black male, been accused of killing a white prominent business person in Memphis, Tennessee. And at that point, it didn't make no difference, you know, that I want the person, because I'm telling you that the prosecutors and the police, they fabricated evidence, they withheld mountains of evidence showing that I was actually innocent of the charge. And but yet and still, they went forward and did exactly what they did. I stood trial in 1985 in Memphis, and this is just kind of goes to show sort of what the system is lacking, still lack to some degree, when it comes to the issue of racism that's involved in the system, is that I actually stood trial in Memphis, Tennessee, and the black population then was, I think, 55% black population, but I was actually put on trial before an all-white jury. So that kind of tells you some about what was really going on at the time in terms of actually trying to do exactly what they did to me, just to say that they actually solved a case. So, like I said, everything that could have went wrong in the trial went wrong in the trial. They produced one eyewitness against me out of 18 witnesses or so, and during my trial, the witness testified that he thought I looked like the person, but he wasn't 100% sure.
Wow.
And
that's
so
the only one eyewitness.
he wasn't 100% sure. And so after what people, I don't know if a lot of people know, these guys probably know that, you know, when a witness testifies in a criminal charge, before he actually testified, the defendant is not allowed to have a statement that he gave the police prior to his testimony. So once the witness testified, then I was allowed to get his statement. So once we actually got this guy's statement, and we started reading it, my lawyer saying, well, this person ain't saying, what he's saying, they ain't describing you. So we actually had the authorities to go back out that afternoon on this guy's job and bring him back in, and my lawyer can further question him about the description that he had gave the police just minutes after the crime. And what he said was that, literally, exactly what he said was that the police showed him several pictures of nobody but me and told him that I was the person. That's how he identified me. This is what he said in my trial. And so, you know, so like I said, and when they was actually also told in my trial saying that they had actually recovered prints of mine from the car.
We're going to have to break for our short commercial break, and we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break.
I walk for Jonathan.
I give for research.
We walk to give families hope.
For his health.
For her.
So welcome back to the final segment of the show.